Most people ask the same question after a hard day. After a hard day at work, most people ask the question, there's got to be an easier way to make a living. I remember many years ago when I was in college, I was working in the evenings and weekends at this golf course, and I would find that to be very difficult, very taxing on my time. I'd say to myself over and over again, there must be an easier way. And then this one Sunday, we had the Sunday paper, and I'm reading the Sunday paper. I get to the classifieds, and there's this big page in the classified. And the page said this: become a salesperson, earn thousands, attend free seminar. I read that and I said to myself, that's it. That's what I've been looking for. So I called up and I registered for the seminar. I went down to the seminar at the Radisson in Monroeville. And what I found amazing was this: the spokesperson for this sales company spent all their time talking about not how to handle success, but how to handle adversity. Talked about how a salesperson has to be able to hear the word no. How a salesperson has to be willing to have the door slammed in their face. A salesperson has to be willing to be knocked down, how they have to deal with adversity. And I thought to myself when I first read this gospel reading, that's it. That's the key component in the gift of Bartimaeus. Now the gospel tonight comes out of the 10th chapter of Mark, verses 46 to 52. And if Bartimaeus had anything going for him, he had the gift of being able to handle adversity. Let's take a look at verse 46 and 47, 10th chapter of Mark. As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. You see, whenever we read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, 99% of the time in the Gospels, Jesus is the main character. He's the protagonist. He is the one we favor. The lone exception is this Gospel reading from the 10th chapter of Mark, Bartimaeus. In this particular Gospel, Bartimaeus is the main character, not Jesus. Bartimaeus is the protagonist. He's the one we favor. Now, Bartimaeus in his life had two choices. He could accept the fact he was blind and he was a beggar, the lowest of low in society, or he could seize the opportunity for change. And Bartimaeus realized that if I'm going to change, if things are going to get better, Jesus is my agent for change. He's walking right by. I have to make sure Jesus sees me. That desire to be seen by Jesus wasn't fueled by his ego, but rather fueled by his desire to see. Now, what I find amazing is this: despite the fact that Bartimaeus realizes Jesus is coming, he's walking right by, I'm yelling out, Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. You would think the people around Bartimaeus would be happy for Bartimaeus. This is his chance for change. Yet they're not happy. And they yell at Bartimaeus. Let's take a look at verse 48, what they say to Bartimaeus. It's kind of unfortunate. And many rebuked him. That's the people standing around Bartimaeus as yelling at Jesus, have pity on me. And they tell Bartimaeus, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more. So I want to ask you this question. When you see that part, they're telling Bartimaeus to be silent. Don't say anything. Don't yell out at Jesus. Why did they do that? There was a reason why the crowd did not want Bartimaeus to yell out for the help of Jesus. Does anyone know the answer? Does anyone know? Bartimaeus hears that Jesus is walking by. He can't see him, but he realizes Jesus is the agent for change. Good things can happen if I could be seen by Jesus. So he yells out, but the crowd says, be quiet, Bartimaeus. Why did they say be quiet to Bartimaeus? Well, the answer is this: because they weren't Bartimaeus. They weren't in the position of Bartimaeus. They weren't Bartimaeus. They weren't blind. They didn't need the help of Jesus. So what they're saying is, hey, Bartimaeus, be quiet. We don't want you to interrupt the flow of what's going on here. They weren't Bartimaeus. Any one of those people in that crowd, if they were Bartimaeus, if they were blind, if they were a beggar, they would have joined in with Bartimaeus. Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. Look my way. I need your help. But they say, no, be quiet. Now, the beautiful thing about Bartimaeus, he had the gift of being able to deal with adversity. He wasn't willing to be hushed by those people. He didn't step back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I won't yell, I won't make a big commotion." Bartimaeus yelled out all the more because he realized this man's walking by, and if I let him get away, things will never change for me. He had a great resolve, and look at the result of his resolve. Take a look at verse 50, 51, 52. This is to commend Bartimaeus. Jesus said to him in reply, "Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you?" The blind man, Bartimaeus, replied to him, "Master, I want to see." And Jesus told him, "Go your way, your faith has saved you." And there it is. Immediately he received his sight. It paid off for Bartimaeus. He wasn't willing to be quiet. Bartimaeus realized, this is my chance. Jesus is here. I've got to be seen by Jesus. Not that I can see him, but I need him to see me. And in that ability to overcome the adversity of his position of being a blind beggar and the adversity of the crowd wanting him to be quiet, he regains his sight. You see, the message is powerful. Bartimaeus realized, we all know this, the life is full of struggle. Many uninvited misfortunes come our way in life. And you can sit back and accept your setbacks, or you could step out of the darkness. And that's what Bartimaeus was doing. I read an interesting article on, this small little article on Mike Tyson, the boxer. And the article said this on Mike Tyson, who was defending his championship for the fourth time, his belt. In the fourth time of defending his belt and having this boxing match, this young, up-and-coming, big, strong boxer said that he would be able to defeat Mike Tyson in the first minute of the first round. That was a pretty aggressive thing to say, because Tyson was tough. And so the reporter asked this man, you claim you can beat Tyson in the first minute of the first round, how? And he said, I have a plan. I have a series of punches I'm going to use against Tyson. He won't be able to counter those punches. He won't be able to stop my punches. He won't be able to beat my plan. I'll beat him in the first minute of the first round. So they asked Mike Tyson what he thought about the response that this man and claimed this young boxer was giving on how he would defeat Tyson. And they told Tyson, this man claims he has a plan and he's going to knock you out in the first minute of the first round. What do you think about that? You know what Tyson said? He might have a plan. That could be true. But his plan will change once he gets hit by me. Everything's going to fall apart. When I connect with him, and he might have this series of punches he's going to use against me, that's all, that's fine, that's well. But when I hit him, everything's going to change. And that's how life works. How we change in life when we get hit by life. When you get hit by the loss of a loved one, your life changes. And how are you going to deal with that adversity? When you get hit by the loss of a job, how are you going to handle that adversity? When you get hit by the loss of anything in your life, the loss of a job, how are you going to handle that adversity? The loss of relationships, the disconnect between yourself and your spouse, or yourself and one of your children. When life hits you with whatever's coming at you, how are you going to respond? They said at that seminar I went to that in order to be a great salesperson, you don't have to worry about success. What you have to be able to cope with and deal with is adversity. I left there and I didn't become a salesperson. It was a waste of an afternoon. But I learned. I learned what they said, adversity. You have to be willing and able to deal with adversity. How can I handle a no? What happens in my life if someone slams the door in my face? If someone says, you can't do this, you can't do that, do I accept it and say, you're right, you're probably right, I won't even try? Or am I going to be Bartimaeus? When the crowd says, shh, Bartimaeus, don't say anything. And he yelled out all the more. What was Bartimaeus saying? I need help. Jesus is the difference maker. He's the one that can help me. I'm going to make sure he sees me. And Bartimaeus had two choices in his life. He can accept his fate as being a blind beggar, or he can look for the opportunity for change, and that's what he did. We have two choices in life, especially when we get hit in life by something we weren't planning on. We either can sit back and say, oh, that's the way it is and nothing's ever going to change and, oh, woe is me, or we could simply say, I can overcome this. I'll work, I'll struggle, I'll fight, I'll overcome it. Tyson was right. When he said that young boxer, he has a plan to defeat me, everything's going to get changed once he gets hit.